And good morning. Yes, Dave King and Matt Martin are on the air here at 8:08 a.m. And as we promised, we have Dr. Kathy Rollo, the superintendent of Lubbock Public Schools, in the house and here to answer your questions this morning. Good morning, Dr. Rollo.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today.
Well, we're so thrilled to have you because school is going to start here, and I will bet you it's going to start here the 15th.
Yes.
And I'll bet you that there's a lot of parents this morning who have some questions that you might be able to answer.
Yes, we're excited. Well, today, a week from today, will be the second day of school, so we actually start next Wednesday.
Well, so much to cover this morning and so little time. Why are we starting early this year?
Well, we are actually a district of innovation, which is a new step that many districts in the state of Texas have taken so that they have more flexibility in their schedule and more local control as to when we feel like the best time to start school is. So we started a little earlier this year. It gives us the opportunity to get the kids back in school sooner, and it gives us days throughout the school year where we can have professional development and give students some 3-day weekends throughout the year, rather than trying to front load all of that professional development before school starts.
Yeah. So we're not actually going to go any more days.
No, it's the same number of days.
This gives you, I guess, flexibility on snow days and things like that?
Yes, it allows us to build more days into our schedule.
A question that comes to mind, and this has been talked before, but originally the kids had summer vacations from school so they could work the crops back back decades and decades ago. It's irrelevant now.
Yes.
And there has been talk, at least in the past, of changing that and maybe going year-round.
Yes, there are some districts throughout the country who have gone to that model. They still have days off, but they're throughout the year rather than all during the summer.
Yeah. So maybe off more mid-year? Or
yes. And
actually, that makes more sense when the weather is the worst.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely. And, we do have a summer lag. Kids tend to forget a few things over the summer, and getting back into that routine is challenging. Okay. So having shorter breaks, but more frequently, is something that many districts have tried.
Well, we have some texters already because we've been promoting the fact that you'll be here and ask people to form questions for you. It says the largest piece of the property taxes that we pay goes to LISD. Even though they keep the tax rate the same, there is a significant effective tax rate increase each year. So are there any advocates of property owners on the school board or in the LISD administration?
It's according if you hire them.
Do what?
You got to vote them in. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but that's not necessarily one for you. That'd be more for a school board member. But the fact is that if you want someone that's going to advocate for you, you have a right to vote for that person every single time and get that person in there.
Yeah. Well, okay, another texter said, and we knew this was coming, what is LIS doing this year to ensure the safety of our children? Metal detectors, security staff, armed teachers. And this is I know Matt pointed out that the arming the teachers just hasn't come up anywhere, although we are seeing school districts around the country who are arming teachers. Matt and I think it's a really, really good idea. Why are we not hearing about this?
Well, let me start with my thoughts around safety and security. My first day on the job was February 1st, so I've been in the job a little over 6 months. And I thought, we need to look at our safety plans and do some tweaking and adjusting, but we can work on that this summer. Well, then 14 days later was the Parkland, Florida shooting. So I thought, no, we can't wait. So we actually brought in community members, staff members, and had 4 large community meetings to give community input on safety and security. We shared what we already have in place, but then we also asked, what does the community want to see in place? And we also had a student advisory. So we had representatives from middle schools and high schools come in and give us their input and feedback. The suggestions really fell into 2 pots. One of those was more behavioral and training. What students wanted to know that they knew what to do if there was an emergency, and they wanted to know that the adults knew what to do in an emergency. So training was a big part of that. And then other things fell into facilities and things that we need to do differently in our facilities. And so training we have done. We have had, we've partnered with I Love You Guys, which is a foundation based in Colorado. A victim of a school shooting in Colorado's parents started this foundation, and they have helped us with some training, and then they have tons of free materials that we have used and made our own. And so we have
training to your teachers mostly?
We trained this summer emergency management leaders, and we have one for every campus, and then also central office, and all of our facilities have one.
And of course, you have LISD police.
Yes, and we have a police force, and they all were involved in this training as well. And so those people who have been trained are going back and training their teachers before school starts, and then the teachers will train students on a standard response protocol. And I brought that. I know our radio listeners can't see this, but we'll be sending this home to parents so that they're aware. These posters will be in every classroom. But it's just so that we have some common language around emergencies. Now, I will say our Board of Trustees is extremely committed to doing whatever we need to do to keep our students safe. And so all things are being considered.
Are arming teachers being considered?
Yes. I mean, it's being considered. It was not something that came out in the community meetings as something that our staff and community members wanted. Our students did not want that. They were very clear about that.
Really?
But we have a police force, too. And so we are going to have a police officer at every single campus. We are also partnering with Lubbock Police Department, and we have sergeant stations this year, which is new. And so some of our campuses will serve as sergeant stations where LPD officers can stop in while they're on their patrol zones and have basically like office space on our campuses where they can work on reports, get a drink of water, interact with kids in a positive way. So we will have increased police presence both from our own police department and LPD on our campuses.
The kids will be more confident if they see a uniformed officer.
Yes, absolutely.
What about as this person said about metal detectors and things like that?
Well, actually, metal detectors, what we're hearing from our safety experts that we're consulting with, are not necessarily an effective tool to stop that from happening in schools. So that is not something right now that we are pursuing, but we are looking at other things.
Okay. Well, and the reality is, I mean, the odds of that occurring are very, very small. Mm-hmm. And it's, I think you're probably about as likely to be hit by lightning as you are to incur that. But I'm not downplaying that by any means. It's very serious.
We found out through safety experts that the number one thing we can do if there is an active threat within our buildings is to get the kids behind a locked door, lights out of sight. And so truthfully, just keeping our classroom doors locked is the best thing that we can do.
Yeah.
So are y'all going to change, entrances and exits, stuff like that? Are y'all going to have like only one entrance at the schools, or how are y'all going to do that?
That is very challenging in our high schools because students are coming and going frequently.
And they can drive and all that fun stuff.
But as far as monitoring those entrances, yes. I mean, and we do have controlled access points in all of our elementary, middle, and even high schools. And so you have to have a badge to get in. You have to have the right credentials.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back.
All right. Thank you.
And we're back on the radio. Dave King, Matt Martin in the morning, and we have Dr. Kathy Rollo, the superintendent of Lubbock Public Schools. And Dr. Rollo, we just, like I say, this goes in a hurry. But one thing we wanted to do is learn about you, because you're new to the job. You started February 1st.
Yes.
A lot of people not familiar with you. Tell us something about you.
Well, I'm a born and raised Lubbockite. I'm actually a product of Lubbock ISD. I went to Wester Elementary, Evans. Well, it was junior high at the time. Now we're in a middle school model. And then I graduated from Coronado High School. I have 3 degrees from Texas Tech University. So my family bleeds red and black. We are definitely Red Raider fans. As far as being an employee of Lubbock ISD, I was a teacher. I was an assistant principal, a principal at Murphy Elementary for 10 years. And then I was executive director of professional development and leadership for the district. And then associate superintendent for elementary. And now I'm superintendent. A 28 plus years.
Well, I think you come with the right heritage there.
So the nice thing was I could hit the ground running. I didn't have to take time to learn about the district because I already
and
had
learn about the people,
relationships.
because I I've been here 50 years, and I was originally born in New Mexico, but been here 50 years. And you have to learn. Lubbock is different.
It is.
The people here are different.
They're very, very good people.
They are, exactly, and I agree. But they are different in a lot of ways, and you have to learn something about them.
It's definitely a West Texas culture, and I get that.
And you have to love barbecue, too.
I grew up in it.
Okay, so one thing was they're having a new grade. Well, it's not a new grading system, but the grading system. The new grades are coming out here very quickly, and apparently there's and I kind of see this every year, but educators are apparently in opposition, according to the Texas Tribune, of this grading system that we have right now. What are your thoughts on the grading system?
Well, one thing I do like about the grading system is that it does have a growth component. So you're not just looking at, did kids pass the test? But you also look at how much did we grow kids. So did our high-achieving kids grow higher? Did our low-achieving kids make gains? And so I do like that aspect of it. I think parents get A, B, C, D, or F because that's how they were graded as students. Mm-hmm. The thing that is challenging with it is extremely a complex formula to come up with the grades. It's very, very difficult mathematic formulas. And so it's hard to truly understand the why behind that letter grade. And that's, I think, why teachers and educators are concerned and opposed to it, because it's very hard to explain.
So not really worried about anything, but are they still separating all the races as far as the grading system?
Separating the races as in?
So certain races have more weight than the way that they're graded.
Well, we look at closing the achievement gap. That's one of the domains in the ABCDF system. And closing the achievement gap means looking at, are our students in different subpopulations? Mm-hmm. Are we closing that gap between their scores?
Right.
So yes, that is part of the formula.
Okay.
Matt, a texter this morning says, I have seen some, I think that's lessons, that seem real close to being Common Core. I thought the state law was not allowed to be taught.
We are not a Common Core district, and we are not a Common Core state. We teach the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills.
Then the District of Innovation changes. We want to talk about the District of Innovation.
Yes. So we talked earlier about how that allowed us to have more flexibility in our beginning start times during the year. Another really nice part of District of Innovation is that in the past, we had to make sure that there was a certified teacher in every classroom, and that is still extremely important. But in our career and technology education courses, sometimes it's hard to find someone who has a certification, a teacher certification, to teach a plumbing course, for example. We need plumbers to teach plumbing courses. We need to make sure they have some skills in how to teach students, but we also want experts in the field. So with District of Innovation, we have the opportunity to hire people to teach our CTE courses who do not necessarily have a teacher certification. And also another area that we have really struggled to find teachers is in our Spanish courses, when we offer Spanish or other world languages. And so this gives us some flexibility to hire people who may not have a Texas teacher certification to teach courses in Spanish, other world languages, and our CTE courses.
Well, interesting. So let's see, where were we? Got a couple of minutes left. Are there any other topics in particular that you wanted to cover this morning?
Well, we are just, we have 3 pillars that are guiding our work in Lubbock ISD, valuing data, loving people, and developing leaders. And so hopefully you'll see those themes throughout the year. One of the things I'm doing as a way of valuing data and gathering some qualitative data, but also in loving people, is I'm doing luncheon listens. So I've been going to every campus. I started in the spring, but I'm going to continue those in the fall. I'm going to every single school, sitting in the teacher's lounge while the teachers are having their lunch period, and just asking them, what's working for you in our district? What could we do to better support your work?
They don't go in and they get all scared, though, do they? I mean, your boss's boss kind of thing.
Really, we've had some great feedback, and we've been able to make some adjustments moving into this year based on that feedback. Yeah. So No, I think they're being pretty open and honest.
Well, just briefly in the time we have, you touched on an area that is dear to my heart. I deal with a lot of different accounts, being an ad agency also. One of the things I'm finding, you mentioned a while ago, plumbers. I deal with Comfort Masters, plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. They've had terrible time hiring people to work the technical trades. These people make great money.
Yes, absolutely.
I have thought that our school system, LISD, needs to put more attention to that, because you know as well as I, there's a lot of these kids that are not going on to college. Now, we have had superintendents who said that every kid is going to be taught to enter college. That's not realistic. There's a lot of them that are good to and to learn a trade, and they make a good living doing that.
So we say college and career readiness. We want everyone to be ready to either go to college or pursue a career that they've dreamed about going into. And there are jobs out there right now that we can't find people to fill. So plumbing is new for us in Lubbock ISD. We're offering plumbing courses at the HEC.
I think
Byron
yes.
Nelson?
I think all the trades, electricians, plumbers, air conditioning technicians, all of them, there's a shortage.
We're offering culinary arts. We're offering lots of
That's brand new
training in the healthcare field. So,
absolutely.
yes.
Yeah.
If you haven't been to the Byron Martin HEC, you need to go. It's awesome.
We have, and that's impressive, and I wish we would put even more attention to that. So what are we, under a minute here? Okay, great. So glad that you came in this morning, and I think we'll have you in every month.
Well, I would love that. Thank you for the opportunity.
We have a lot of our listeners, as experienced this morning, have sent in questions. So there's a lot of interest in LISD, and August 15th it all starts over. All right, that's it.